if you've ever wondered what it's like to keep a lovebird or parrot in general, then it's certainly a roller coaster of a journey. So in today's video, I'm going to go over the top 5 things I wish I knew before getting a lovebird or a parrot in general. So this is Venus, my lovebird, and she's going to help me today in this video. So I'm Toby, this is Venus, this is Toby's Exotics. Let's get straight in to the video. Hitting it up straight in at number 5, it's got to be they are loud. And when people say they're loud, they are loud. And that's not necessarily just the velocity of scream that comes firing at you. That's just the constant little beeps and squeaks all the time. It's beep, beep, beep. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. You tell them. It is. Yes. So it's always constant beeping and squeaking. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially with lovebirds. It's not a bad thing, but you do become used to it, and you end up not even realizing that it's there, if you will. Some of my friends will be over and gonna tell her to, be quiet, and I'm like, I didn't notice she was making any noise, even though it turns out she's been screaming for the past hour. And they get smart about it. They'll keep screaming until they get what they want, things like that. So you kind of just gotta blank it out, and that can be really annoying to you or everyone else. So you kind of got to be understanding of who else is in the family, who else you're living with, all your friends that you may want to hang out with. All of this you've got to take into consideration. Other pets, are they going to get angry by that? Are they going to get annoyed? Are they going to get stressed? Things like that. You've got to keep in mind that they are loud. And when I say they're loud, they are noisy. Noise, straight noise, all the time. And when they have their crazy riots, when they fly around screaming their head off, like constant screaming their head off, they do that like once a week, and they just go for like a crazy run. And the poo, we'll get to that. They go on a crazy run, screaming for like 5 minutes, flying around the room. It's stupid, it's crazy. But yeah, you really got to bear in mind the noise level that comes along with keeping a parrot. Number 4 is the sheer amount of poo that comes firing out the back end of these things. Seriously, poo everywhere. And that's not just because poo's not nice to look at, it's because it's really unhygienic. You gotta stay on top of all their poo. I've kept this poo on my shirt, and because I can't be bothered cleaning it off, she's probably going to keep pooing on it. I will clean this shirt after this video. It's unsanitary not to. There is poo everywhere. I mean, the bottom of their cage is one thing, but across windowsills, on top of tanks that she lands on top of, chameleon enclosures, there's a lot of poo on there. Having to sort of battle through that. Their poo gets everywhere, and especially when they're sitting on your shoulder, they'll poo on it. And by the way, not all parrots like to sit on your shoulder. Some have an irrational phobia of sitting on your shoulder, or they like eating ears, one of the two. And they just poo everywhere. So I do need to warn you, the sheer amount of poo that comes out of these things is laughable, and you really got to stay on top of it with a good sanitizer, good spray, good antibacterial spray that's safe for lovebirds. I recommend F10 or a vinegar and water mix, but look into it a bit further. On to number 3. And number 3 actually follows on from the poo situation. There's a lot of poo that comes out of these guys, therefore a lot has to go into them. So their mouth, they eat a lot. And if you're just feeding your bird seed, they're gonna get pretty fatty pretty quickly. You coming up? No? She's gonna scavenge on the floor, literally looking for food, like right now. She is on the floor looking for food. Even though she's just had a full meal. So you don't want to fill them up on seed because that's fatty and they burn it really quickly. They can end up actually losing a lot of weight or gaining a lot of weight depending on how much seed they eat. Very fatty, just terrible for them. So I always went with Bird Tricks, company Bird Tricks. They've actually got a YouTube channel as well. I will at them in the description. If you click on that, that'll take them to your channel, to their channel. And basically, I went on and I found some of their training programs, and I found their meals, their diet program, and she eats off of that. Fresh food maybe every 2 weeks, and it's a full bowl. She goes through about two good chunks of them a day. Plus all the pellets and things that you might want to get. There we go. And she's away again. The amount of poo, obviously has to come the amount of things they go in. So pellets, fresh food, you come back over. Pellets, fresh food. And that's a mix, and that costs quite a lot, and it's quite a lot of labour to actually make the fresh food all the time. Plus, you obviously got to buy all the recipes if you choose to go down that route, but please do not feed it seed. That is just a stupid idea. But yeah, they eat a lot as well, and that unfortunately comes at quite a price. Okay, now coming in at the number 2 spot has to be, they're not cuddly birds. Most birds don't like, you know, all the touching and the cuddling and the kissing. They don't like it. That works up to be time, and even if I just move my hand close to her, she's gonna back up. She doesn't like being touched, right? Birds are there as flock animals. They're there to basically be your shadow. They're your best friend. You won't go up and hug your best friend every 5 minutes. You wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? You just don't do these things. And you're going to work up to that. If you really want that in a bird, you got to work up to that. You do not ever get a bird expecting that. They are, as I say, they're there, they're happy to chill with you. You'll often see this with animals, with birds that aren't even so-called trained. You'll have birds that are scared of humans, yet if you spend a wee bit of time with them, they'll start following you around because they just want to see what's going on. They're inquisitive, they're curious. But you really got to resist the urge to touch them. And unfortunately, by touching them, when they don't want to, you lose trust. But most importantly, they can bite you, and biting is not good for you or the bird. It hurts. Genuinely, she's given me a nose piercing before, literally just straight through my nose, just because she was curious, inquisitive as to what it was. Like a baby chews things, she was doing that, and she literally bit through my nose. It's not fun, and if you've got an angry bird in the end of that, it's seriously gonna hurt. So watch out, because you will lose their trust rather quickly. You build up to it, and you just got to read the bird. But apart from that, as long as you stick by the sort of boundaries, give them a personal space, they're okay with you doing it a wee bit, aren't you? A wee bit, yeah. And they are genuinely there to make you happy. Only if you abide by their rules, and they'll abide by yours. Finally, we arrive at number 1, and the worst one for this. They are expensive, and that means startup, and that means just overall costs. Number 1, you gotta buy all their ingredients for their food, all their pellets, but, and then originally to get them, you gotta buy them, you gotta buy the cage, you gotta buy toys, you gotta keep buying toys, by the way, then you gotta replace anything that they break. For example, I had a keychain, bit straight through it, yeah. You're gonna have to understand that they break things, they pull on things, they ruin things. That's their whole point, is to destruct. That's what they do, is they take everything apart. Lids of enclosures, yep, she's broken them before. She's pooed on top of the chameleon cages. You've got to scrub at them, make sure that none of the poo seeps through and ends up spreading bacteria. It's exceptionally important that you need to spend money. And unfortunately, as I say, my family, my brain, my heart absolutely adores her. My bank balance and skirting boards hate her. That's about it. So please make sure you have sufficient funds. Cages, just to start with, can be expensive. Water bowls. Water bowls, you don't know how many food and water bowls that she goes through, because she ditches them everywhere, food gets stuck to the inside of them, water just goes horrible all the time unless you stay on top of it. She breaks water bowls, she does whatever she can to get rid. Basically, her only idea is to destroy things, and then you got to go out and buy another one. And make sure that you don't buy too expensive one, because she's just going to destroy it again. So understand, it's a constant battle of having to buy new things. So that's another thing, another warning with burbs. But they're great, but all of these things I wish I knew before it. But anyway, this is probably going to be a 2-part episode topic, because those were just the top 5. Seriously, just please do your research before getting a bird, and understand it's not all fun and games. It's not all, oh, give us a cuddle, you know, mwah, mwah, mwah. Yeah, it's not all that. It's not all that, is it? No, it's not all that. See, well, they're crazy and wonderful, but please do bear these in mind. I hope you enjoyed this sort of small episode, but I hope you gained some knowledge from it as well. Apart from that, goodbye from me, goodbye from Venus, goodbye from the exotics. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.